For people who love nature, that sound you just heard is beautiful. It's frogs that are very happy there's so much water around them. There are birds singing on the trees because it's food coming their way. It turns out that small-scale farmers also love nature. They have used this over years to determine when to plant, how to plant, and even how to plant. And this way they have been able to cushion themselves from hunger. They look at things like this behavior of animals, those that keep cattle. When they see animals coming home jumping with their tails eye up, they know it's time to plant. Those that grow mango trees, and they observe that the mango tree that normally produces small mangoes has lots of fruits, they know, this is a bad harvest for us. On the other side, if they see the mangoes with bigger variety of mangoes, the ones that are producing more mangoes, then they know this is going to be good for us. They also do look at the skies. They look at the clouds. They look at the position of the moon. Like I know down in Zulu, they know that if the moon is dirty, it means there's a lot of rain coming. And this is across the world, be it Australia, Asia, Africa, Latin America. Small-scale farmers have used this knowledge. We call it indigenous knowledge. If you read books, they also call it technical knowledge, local knowledge, doesn't matter. But this is knowledge that is passed on from generation to generation. It's not written. My mother told me about it. Then my grandmother told my mother about it. And we passed it on over generations. And one of the things that struck me, I grew up in a typical Kenyan village. And I would listen to my grandmother. I remember when going with my sister to fetch firewood, and we'd hear this particular bird making some noise. The local people have a way of making it sound like their own local language. Like some place in Rakai district in Uganda, they even say the bird is saying, heaven come down. And somehow when you sing, it makes sense. So my sister and I, when we hear that bird, we would have to run home because precisely after that bird, 3 hours, it would rain. It's so precise. But now there's a problem. This indigenous knowledge is disappearing because the young people have left the village. They don't want to be associated with it. Somebody somewhere has told them it's primitive, and it is not. Climate change has come, and though the farmers knew through seasons that every March, 20th of March it would rain, it's not the same anymore. And they would know that sometime in July it would be very cold. Sometimes in winter, this doesn't look like winter anymore. So that knowledge is not reliable to the farmers. But what is the whole big story about rain and Africa? It's because the two are so intertwined that when it doesn't rain, there's no food for the farmers. They go hungry. And the tragedy is, statistics show that even now on your phones, if you just check how many people are dying of hunger in Africa, you'll get close to 30s of millions of people. The second problem is that in Africa, we rely a lot on small-scale farmers whose production is determined by that very rain. So if you take a trip from tip of Africa up to Cairo, and at some point you just branch off, you will encounter very many people that are going hungry. Then you ask me, where are the scientists? Why are they not helping us? They have developed models that work. But then these models have problems. The first one is the information they're giving to our local scale farmers. It's in a language they don't comprehend. They will tell them, just check today on South African weather or any meteorological organization website. They will tell you that there will be near normal rainfall or below normal or normal. For a farmer, that doesn't make sense. What farmers really want to know is, when is it going to rain anyway? How much is going to come? Should I plant millet or should I plant maize? And if we were to tell them that the coming rain season, though you're expecting it to rain, it will not. Then instead of using my $2,000 or 2,000 rand or my 100 Kenya shillings, where I come from, to plant. I preserve that. If I'm a cattle keeper, and you tell me that the next 2 years it won't rain, I will sell those cows at fat price today, as opposed to waiting next year where they die. So, the second problem we have with meteorological weather information is that the weather stations that we are using are very expensive to acquire them and to maintain them. So what they normally have is a sparse kind of network. You must have wondered one day why you're getting an information saying there will be thunderstorm today in Bloemfontein. But then I didn't see it. It's not because there's no thunderstorm. They are very accurate, but it's a bigger picture they're giving us. The local knowledge. They give you precise information about my village, about my mango tree, about my cow, so it's very accurate for them. So what do we do then? Indigenous knowledge is not working. Scientific weather is not working. That's why I come in. I'm a computer scientist. Those robotic things, artificial intelligence, they can solve our problem. So I came up with a bridge, and if I can just show it when the remote comes up. This was inspired by, again, my own experience. When I was growing up, we didn't have a normal bridge, you know, the one by civil engineers near our place. And we didn't have relatives on the other side of the river, huge river. So the local people used their own knowledge to build a bridge that's made of trees, some dry sticks, and tied with very strong thread, and anchored on the strongest tree along the river. So to be able to cross. It's a small girl, of course, anytime I stepped on it, I would think I'm going to drop down there. But it's so strong that I still remember. It was in the early 90s. I'm not very young. It was massive. There were massive floods in our area. The civil engineered bridge, I'm not criticizing the engineers, it was swept away because nobody anticipated the floods. The indigenous bridge stood firm. Why? Because the people have lived there over the years. They know that this tree, even if it floods how much, will never be shaken. So that's how strong it is. It does not mean that the civil engineers were wrong, just that they didn't have the extra knowledge that the local people had. So then the concept of the bridge is this, that a bridge is a two-way traffic. I can go, you can come. As opposed to where institutional scientists are picking indigenous knowledge to enhance their own things. We would like to share. Our scientific knowledge is very powerful. Our indigenous knowledge is very powerful. Bring it together, we get the best of the two worlds. And that's how my bridge was conceptualized. So I've used, my sticks are very strong computer science tools. First, I said that the weather stations are expensive. So we're able to acquire now weather stations that are 10 times cheaper. Using wireless sensors, using our phones. Everything's becoming a sensor. So already we've brought the cost very low. Secondly, we're using artificial intelligence, specifically artificial neural networks, fuzzy logic, so that we're able to predict using models just like any other meteorological person can do, and predict up to 4 years. And the fuzzy logic enables us not to dilute the holistic indigenous knowledge. So at the end of the day, we have a solution that works better than any solution I've come across. For it, I got a PhD. For it, I've gotten a number of awards. And it's so accurate that we're able to predict up to 4 years with an accuracy of 70%, and the shorter one, up to 18 months, 98%. That's a huge solution for us because now it means that the number of people, like last year that 6 million people were going hungry in Africa. If we gave that information that is 98% correct, the farmers would have known that this particular part of the world will be so dry, they would have moved elsewhere and saved their lives. They would have known that if I plant maize, I will not harvest anything. They would have known that instead of keeping my cows until they are sowing my shit, then I would have sold them and made money out of it. Because statistics also show us that out of 10 countries where the level of hunger has gone up over the last 3 decades, 9 of them are in Africa. And if you check today and you're able to count how many droughts are happening in the world, 1 out of 2 are in Africa. So the problem is serious. And the bridge I'm talking about works as follows. We use the weather stations to collect the meteorological parameters. It's the one I'm holding there. It's really little. You can have as many as 100 in a small area. And then we use the wireless communication to transmit that data to wherever we are. Then we're able to predict. We use mobile phones. We give the farmers mobile phones. They're able to collect their data about what they're observing. We collect that data and put it in the system. And then once we predict, we disseminate the information again using the mobile application. And using computer science tools, we are able to translate into their local language. Now they are happy. Now they're able to know when to plant. We've been using it for the last 4 years. We roll here in South Africa, two places. We're now able to roll it out into Mozambique, and of course, where I originally came from, in Kenya. And what am I trying to say here today is that our local knowledge, indigenous knowledge, whatever name you want to call it, is so rich. It's authentic. Once somebody told me, you know what, somebody is doing a project somewhere in Uganda. I thought, no. That's my story. It's my bridge. No one can infringe on it because only you can tell our story. And whatever local knowledge we have, be it entrepreneurship, there's indigenous entrepreneurship. There's indigenous clothes. There's indigenous everything. What's unique about it is that it's ours. And no one can tell your story better than you can tell it. I'm using this to tell my own story because through it, I'm able to reclaim. Because many people write about African drought and why Africans are going hungry. No one knows it better than us. So through that, I'm able to retell that story and rewrite my story. And through this, I've become so confident about telling my story that last year I got an award for Distinguished Women Scientists. I'm like, oh, okay, that's something. And the first time when I started, I wasn't 100% sure. I was approached by the International Telecommunication Union, and this whole idea is an innovation recognized worldwide. Let's tell our stories so that no one will misrepresent us. I thank you.